We're delighted to announce that today, in association with UK Finance, the annual fraud report for 2023 has been launched. Feedzai are honoured to have been chosen as the trusted partner by UK Finance to deliver this year's edition, and the annual fraud report provides a key baseline for all fraud practitioners within the UK, helping to collectively understand the key threats that have been concerning the industry throughout the last 12 months. Dan Holmes here with the Feedzai Weekly update. The headline numbers are that 1.2 billion was lost to fraud in 2022. Despite this staggering number, there are some positive underlying messages for us to take away. Firstly, overall losses were down by 100 million relative to 2021, showing the positive progress that the industry has made. Secondly, scams, the biggest loss driver within that 1.2 billion, are down for the first time since reporting began. And thirdly, card not present fraud, the second biggest loss driver, was also down for the fourth consecutive year. So let's break these losses down a little further, starting with scams. Scams cost the industry 485 million in the last 12 months, a decrease of 17% relative to 2021. As we get into some of the specifics, the biggest decrease was on impersonation scams, where fraudsters contact the victim representing a position of trust and coerce the victim into making a payment on their behalf. Banks have applied a significant amount of effort into educating their customers and deploying the right technology strategies to put themselves in a strong position to succeed against that fraud type, and we're now starting to see that pay off within the numbers. In contrast, however, we did see significant increases in advance fee scams and purchase scams, and banks will need to be on high alert for these scam typologies moving into 23. And then finally, despite scam losses reducing, 2022 saw more scams refunded to customers than ever before, a total of 285 million, which was an increase on 5% on the previous year. This is a very positive step forward, as it means that victims and consumers are out of pocket less often, and could be a sign that banks are ramping up their liability and refund reimbursement positions ahead of the PSR changes that will come in within the next 12 months. Moving into unauthorised fraud now, card losses cost the industry 556 million in the last 12 months. Some of the key trends within that were that lost and stolen fraud increased significantly relative to 21. A likely reason for this is that post-pandemic lockdowns, customers have been out and about more often, meaning they're more likely to perhaps lose their card or indeed have their card stolen. That can be coupled with the fact that contactless fraud also increased relative to 21. And this makes sense, as somebody that has their card stolen, from the fraudster's perspective, the easiest fraud typology to then commit would be a contactless transaction. So it's no surprise to see these two trends rising in parallel. However, in better news on the card side, card not present fraud reduced by 4%, marking the fourth consecutive year that those losses have declined. And these losses could well be testament to the fact that strong customer authentication was introduced in the industry in 22, making it more difficult for fraudsters to commit unauthorised fraud by putting more intervention and more opportunity for friction into electronic payments. And then finally, on remote channels, 163 million was lost. Remote channels covers common banking channels such as mobile banking, internet banking, and telephone banking. Losses were down 18% relative to 2021. Other data also shows us that mobile continues to be the channel of choice from a consumer's perspective. In some banks, over 80% of all logins that take place are coming through the mobile app. Despite this, losses on the internet banking and web channels still significantly outweigh those that occur on mobile, doubling down on the fact that mobile continues to not only be the channel of choice from a customer's perspective because of the ease of access and the ease of use, but it's also very much seen as the perceived secure channel from the consumer and the bank's perspective. In summary, banks continue to recognise that a siloed approach to fraud detection is not going to provide the best results, and these strategic steps forward that we're seeing, both from a technology perspective and a process perspective, are resulting in overall loss numbers coming down. Fraudsters will continue to evolve, and it's important that bank strategies continue to evolve at pace as well. Please let us know what your key takeaways from the report were in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Dan Holmes with the Feedzai Weekly Update.